And as Gaza descends deeper into that humanitarian catastrophe, a quiet revolt is brewing within the ranks of the Israeli army itself. According to a report in The Telegraph, a growing number of Israeli soldiers are now refusing to fight in what they describe as Prime Minister Netanyahu's forever war. One of them is Captain Ron Finner, a decorated young officer who survived a deadly ambush in southern Lebanon last October. A bullet struck his helmet. 6 of his comrades died that day. He pulled the injured to safety, but today he refuses to return for another tour of duty in Gaza. He says, I'm quoting, "Our government wants this war to last as long as possible. They don't want peace. I cannot be part of that," quote unquote. And for refusing to serve, reportedly, he was sentenced to 25 days in jail as part of what appears to be a wider movement of quiet defiance within the Israeli Defense Forces. Many reservists, according to The Telegraph, are simply not turning up. Some simply, quote unquote, forget to check their emails. Others cite family emergencies or go abroad during call-up windows. The true rate of attendance, some say it's dropped as low as 60%. The soldiers describe what's happening inside Gaza, the starvation, the desperation, as the reason for why more Israeli soldiers are choosing to walk away. According to the report, former and serving senior Israeli officers are now questioning the very point of this war. They have started openly admitting that Netanyahu is prolonging the war to save his political skin. They say, quoting, "It's about Netanyahu's survival," quote unquote. US President Donald Trump's golfing trip in Scotland is making headlines, but there is more to it than meets the eye, perhaps. At the weekend round of golf at his resort in Scotland, Trump was being trailed by a heavily armored black buggy, which is anything unlike ever spotted earlier. Not only is it bespoke, but also appears to be tailored in a way that could actually provide an added layer of security. A darkened windscreen, reinforced side panels, and thick rear casing, just to name some of the features that stood out. Experts suggest that it could even possibly withstand ballistic threats. Informally termed Golf Force One, introducing such a vehicle is hardly unusual given the series of threats faced by Trump in the past. It's not confirmed yet whether this actually serves the purpose of security cover or not. Now, Trump is not among the ones to stop or rest on laurels. After Turnberry, he is all set to open a new golf course in Aberdeenshire alongside British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. But as you know, controversy hardly is away from the US president, and his golf course is no exception. In a video that is now doing the rounds on social media, Trump has been accused of cheating while playing a round of golf, a scene which purportedly comes with videographic evidence. Not the first time, of course, that such allegations of cheating in broad daylight have come in. In fact, even as these remain speculative as of now, with neither Trump nor the White House weighing in, one thing is certain. For Trump, golf seems to be more than just a sporting event, a perfect blend perhaps of charisma and also maybe a dash of controversy. The tech industry is witnessing significant job cuts this year. It's been described as one of the sector's most difficult years, in fact. You know how many jobs have reportedly been slashed? 100,000. And in the latest, TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, India's largest IT services provider, will reduce its workforce by 2% in its 2026 financial year, primarily affecting middle and senior management. It has said the company is retraining and redeploying staff as it enters new markets, invests in new technology and deploys AI, but about 12,200 jobs will be cut as part of the process, adding that this transition is being planned with due care to ensure there is no impact on service delivery to the clients. As per the Bridge Chronicle, more than 100,000 have been laid off so far, with Intel, the leader, slashing over 12,000 positions across the world. Thousands of personnel have been laid off from firms like Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Google, Salesforce, just to name a few. The big question still is, how exactly is AI changing the tech sector? In terms of personnel being hired and also in terms of roles, layoffs. While there have been a series of statements issued by industry experts and tech firm leaders, the fact is AI is here to stay and so is its impact. It's a double-edged sword which will continue to impact our lives in more ways than one. AI is reshaping operations, transforming the industry, but also sparking layoff concerns among employees. Just earlier this month, according to a report by Bloomberg, Microsoft's chief commercial officer had said the company saved more than $500 million in its call centers last year by deploying AI. And speaking to the employees recently, he reportedly said AI tools have boosted productivity in areas like sales, customer service, and software engineering, and reportedly stressed to employees that AI could help make them more effective sellers. The company is reportedly now using AI to handle interactions with smaller customers and is already generating tens of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, the company has also implemented one of its biggest waves of layoffs this year. In fact, tech giants are pouring money into AI, and some other tech giants investing heavily in AI have also turned to workforce cuts. Some companies that have undergone job cuts are dealing with shifting priorities and changing technologies. Economic uncertainty and cost pressures are also driving some companies to streamline and restructure. A mining company backed by billionaires Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos is reportedly on course to challenge China in the race for critical minerals used in modern technology. The firm is preparing to mine lithium in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The country is estimated to have as much as $24 trillion of untapped resources. The firm also reportedly acquired rights to one of the world's largest hard rock lithium deposits in an area that has seen conflict for decades now and is now reportedly partially under the control of neighboring Rwanda-backed rebel forces. This mining project is perhaps seen as a test of America's new foreign policy under President Donald Trump. Just last month itself, America brokered a peace deal between Congo and Rwanda, remember, which Trump termed as historic. But key details remain unclear, including the extent of U.S. security support and who actually benefits the most from American investments. And despite its rich copper, cobalt, tin, uranium, Congo remains one of the world's poorest countries. For years now, American companies have reportedly stayed away from the Central African country, reportedly due to corruption and instability, leaving room for China to dominate in a way. And now Trump's approach and the ceasefire agreement have perhaps encouraged the Bezos-Gates-backed firm to launch a large-scale exploration project covering over 1,600 square kilometers. But this very site reportedly lies in Congo's most volatile eastern province. Minerals like manganese are already being mined there, often in areas controlled by the M23 rebels backed by Rwanda. Congo's president is reportedly eyeing more Western investment to counter China's growing presence. In February, the country offered mining rights to the U.S. in return for security assistance. And since then, the Congolese president has publicly praised Trump and even backed calls for him to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. The firm backed by Bezos and Gates in the past has used artificial intelligence, in fact, to locate untapped mineral deposits, a method that helped it discover Zambia's largest copper find in 100 years. But faces tough questions about reports of potential labor abuse, allegedly, environmental damage, and whether its wealthy backers can meet the humanitarian promises. The Congo conflict goes back to the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. Around 2 million Hutus, an ethnic group, fled into Congo afterwards, sparking regional wars, and Rwanda has intervened repeatedly, claiming threats from the Hutu militias. Over 6 million people have died since, mostly due to war, hunger, and disease. Analysts say the fight over Congo's minerals is a major driver of violence, while the UN and Western reports accuse Rwanda of helping rebels to steal and export these resources. Rwanda denies the charges. Time now for Gravitas Deep Dive. Britain's Defence Secretary John Healey, standing aboard the HMS Prince of Wales in Northern Australia, sent out a big warning. He said that the UK is ready to fight alongside allies if a war breaks out over Taiwan. But how much of that is bluster and how much muscle does Britain really bring to the Pacific? His comments, made during a joint appearance with Australia's Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles, were pointed. In fact, he said, and I'm quoting, "If we have to fight, Australia and the UK are nations that will fight together," quote unquote. And while he later softened the stance, emphasizing diplomacy and deterrence, it was by far the most direct language yet from a British minister on the Taiwan flashpoint. The message seemed aimed at China, where President Xi Jinping has refused to rule out the use of force in the reunification of Taiwan. Remember, China views the island nation as its own territory. Taiwan, of course, rejects that claim. But Western powers are now walking a tightrope of posturing without provoking, in a way. The UK's most powerful warship, HMS Prince of Wales, is in the middle of a 9-month Pacific deployment. It is the first time in almost 30 years that a British carrier strike group has docked in Australia, and it's also the first time that any non-US carrier has joined Australia's annual war drills called Talisman Sabre. But the bigger question here is, what does Britain actually plan to do if China invades Taiwan? Last month, a smaller British patrol vessel sailed through the Taiwan Strait, drawing praise from Taipei, but Beijing, of course, was not happy. But officials in the UK are also quick to remind that there is no change in Britain's formal position on Taiwan, no commitment to defend it, no promise of direct engagement. And as the Defence Secretary put it, quoting, "We secure peace through strength. And our strength comes from our allies," quote unquote. And that strength now includes the Geelong Treaty, which is a new 50-year pact between Britain and Australia under the AUKUS agreement, pledging to build a new generation of nuclear-powered submarines. So while Britain warns China against escalation, it does so with limited leverage and few actual red lines. So sure, Britain says it's ready to fight, but when push comes to shove, the real message may be this: the UK is watching, sailing nearby and exercising with allies. But the front line over Taiwan, that may be one fight Britain still hopes to talk its way out of.